Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. I made a video earlier on about the Zimbabwean government introducing a gold coin that they're selling on the market. And I've been following different discussions about the gold coin and also the use of gold in any economy. And what I've noticed there is a general sentiment around people, and maybe from my observation, it's mostly people in Africa that believe uh, nations should use gold as their currency, or they should at least somehow back their currency using gold. It's a question that I asked myself some time before, and I just want to share my views on that. And I hope you will find them informative, and also, as always, I think generating debate on issues like this is one of the most crucial things that we can use as Africans to be able to advance our philosophies and also our economies. So, is issuing a gold-backed currency something that is desirable for African countries, for example? I think that's a question that is very legitimate. And is gold a good currency for any nation, especially in the modern day economy? Uh, so the history of gold as a currency, it's very long, so I won't maybe go much into that. But basically, what happened in 1971, the gold standard was removed when the US failed to meet its commitments to France. So they removed the gold standard. Then from after 1971, we now use basically fiat currency. So all nations around the world, they use fiat currency. But should Africa use gold, or should they have a currency backed by gold? And I've heard a lot of stories about how Gaddafi was creating this currency that was backed by gold, and some assume, or maybe some believe that that is the reason that he was killed. Are there any truth in that? I don't know. But from the way that I understand it, trading in gold or using gold as a currency in the modern economy poses a lot of challenges than the system that we already have. If we were to look at probably the two biggest economies in the world, the US and China, their total economies are almost worth 42 trillion US dollars, which is actually huge. If we look at the gold market in the world, the gold market, it's not that huge. It's very small. I think all the gold that has been mined around the world, it's worth almost 7 trillion US dollars, which is really, really small compared to the world economy. So, in the first instance, that poses a huge challenge to use gold as a trading currency, because there is not so much gold available to support trade around the world. And there are some things like the movement of gold. Gold is a little bit bulky, especially if you're trading. Imagine with the modern economy, probably you are Zimbabwean like me, and you want to buy some oil from Saudi Arabia. How do you transport all that gold? Every year, I think Zimbabwe spends more than 1 billion on oil imports, and gold worth 1 billion. It's almost worth, I think it should weigh almost 16 tons, and that's huge. So those transportation costs will be really, really huge. So because of that, those are some of the reasons why gold in the modern economy does not work. And also, there is another issue with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Most nations that are signatory or that are in the IMF, they are prohibited by the agreement in IMF, particularly Article 4, Section 2B of the IMF agreement. It actually prohibits nations from using gold or backing their currency with gold. So once a nation does that, it isolates itself from the IMF, which I don't believe works in the advantage of most African countries. So because of that, I don't believe that gold is a good currency for Africans to use. I think fiat currency, as we have it, it's the best thing that is there. It's not a perfect thing. I believe Africans should not be trying to go back to using gold as a currency. There are technologies that are emerging these days. There's blockchain, there things like that. I think those are things that we need to concentrate on as Africans rather than maybe going 100 years backwards. We should always try to find innovative ways that we can use so that we can facilitate trade around Africa. So, having said that, I think gold is not a good idea. And whether Gaddafi was killed because of gold, you can determine that. I won't issue an opinion on that, but gold is not a good idea. It's a bad idea for Africa.